Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out with the latest edition of ReFLEXions. Now, as regular viewers will know, we normally do this every Monday, 4:30 p.m, and we talk about the action of the weekend just gone. But there hasn't been a great deal of action this weekend, so instead, while we're here in a drizzly London town, waiting for the Anthony Joshua press conference, or Eddie Hearn press conference to begin at the Savoy Hotel, we might as well talk a little bit about the rumours, or getting stronger now, otherwise we wouldn't be here, that AJ against Andy Ruiz Jr, their rematch, will take place in Saudi Arabia. News broke over the weekend that this is signed and sealed apparently, although Andy Ruiz himself has been conspicuous by his quiet nature uncharacteristically quiet nature in fact, on social media. We haven't really heard a peep from him since the fight was apparently announced by Eddie Hearn. Rumours are that Ruiz Jr is not happy with the contracted £9 million he's supposed to earn, or it might be $9 million, don't quote me, because he signed for that when he signed for the original AJ fight. He signed for the terms of the rematch as well. You might remember Dillian Whyte balked at a deal to fight AJ at Wembley for much the same reason. He felt that if he were to upset AJ, fight in the rematch, he deserved a bigger slice of the return purse. Andy Ruiz Jr was just glad to get the opportunity at short notice in New York, and now he's in a situation where he's apparently reportedly signed for a purse that is a very, very small percentage of what the Saudi backers will be paying for the fight. So apparently, and this is just from reading the likes of Mike Coppinger and some of the other US scribes, Andy Ruiz Jr is not going to agree and sign on the dotted line for the fight until he's guaranteed a bit more money for going to Saudi Arabia. Although we'll have to quiz Eddie Hearn about that a bit later just to find out what the exact situation is up to the minute with Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, there are pluses to the fight being in Saudi Arabia. A lot of critics are calling it a cash grab. But on the flip side of that, it's going to be great timing for the UK audience watching on TV. Yeah, it's on Sky Box Office and you have to pay for it. But Saudi, as we saw from recent events involving Amir Khan and before that the final of the World Boxing Super Series, they're only 2 hours ahead of us. So they might get the main event local time, say 11 p.m. latest. We'll get it at 9 o'clock, prime time on a Saturday night. I don't think anyone's going to be complaining about that. The gate's not going to be great. I think they're setting up a purpose-built venue that will hold around 7,000-8,000. Far cry from the 90,000 you might get at Wembley Stadium. But again, on the other side of that, it is neutral territory, which should make it seem, or at least give it the veneer of fairness to outsiders and to the two combatants. Andy Ruiz Jr, even though some said he was contracted to come wherever Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's team wanted it, didn't really want to come to London for the fight. Joshua apparently, or Joshua's team, didn't want to go back to America. So it's a strange option, but they've paid a lot of money in Saudi and it is a neutral venue, so that's the good side of it. On the bad side, unless AJ and co are going to use this as an opportunity to highlight some of the human rights abuses and the appalling, frankly, human rights record out in Saudi, then that's a missed opportunity. We need high profile figures who are going to do events there, whether they're sportsmen, actors, any sort of kind of people in high profile professions, to speak out against the prevailing attitude in Saudi Arabia towards women, towards freedom of the press, or lack of freedom of the press to be clear, the Jamal Khashoggi thing, everything going on at the moment. When Amir Khan and team went out there for the farcical, you have to say, fight against Billy Dibb, as it turned out, he didn't really have much to say. We asked him at the press conference, they kind of swerved the question. They don't want to highlight human rights abuses by the people that are bankrolling the event. And I can understand that. But AJ's one of the most famous sportsmen on the planet right now. And if he's got nothing to say about it, that's a huge missed opportunity. Because if these guys start talking about what's going on in Saudi Arabia while they're actually over there participating in an event, it's going to change a few hearts and minds. And it might even convince some of the power brokers over there to start slowly, gradually changing their policies. We can only hope. We're going to go into the press conference in about an hour or so, and you'll see loads of stuff up on the channel at the same time as this goes up, interviews with the main players and the press conference itself. But let us know what you think in the comments below. Are they right to go to Saudi Arabia? Do the positives of the deal outweigh the negatives? Is Andy Ruiz Jr right to ask for more money, even if he was contracted to a smaller purse when he signed for the original fight? Because obviously the return is now worth a lot more than was anticipated. Let us know your answers to those two questions and we'll respond to some of the better ones. For me, I'll be back on Thursday for FlexPectations, Thursday 4:30 p.m. and back for the next ReFLEXions, which will probably be a more standard one, Monday 4:30 p.m. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you soon.